Hi everybody, my name is Brittany and welcome back to my channel. I do videos about books and autism here on this channel, so if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, please feel free to give this video a big thumbs up and like and subscribe and hit the bell notification. That way you'll be updated every time I upload a new video. You can see the Carleton University hat on my head in this video today. I was a Carleton student. I guess I still am, technically, even though I haven't taken courses in a minute. But yeah, so Carleton student, that's me. This hat was a present that I bought for my husband when we were dating and I was living at the school, in the dorms. This was years ago, but we've had the hat ever since, and it's just working really well today, just to keep the bugs off of my head. We live out in the country, as you've probably noticed in some of my other videos, and it's beautiful out here. We won't always be living here, but for now, it's absolutely beautiful, and we love it, and so we're going to try to stay here as long as we can, before we end up moving just into a little duplex that my mom owns. She and my stepdad will be moving into one side, and me and my husband will be moving into the other, and we're going to, be doing a lot of renovations, and we're going to make it really nice and really beautiful there. So anywho, that's a little bit off topic, but I just wanted to explain why I'm wearing a Carleton University hat. It's just to keep the bugs off my head. We get horseflies here, and they love my dark hair, and they love to land on top of my head and bite me. So to avoid getting bitten by horseflies, I am wearing this hat. Okay, so I think the next thing that so today's video is going to be a little bit of a chat, I guess. I wanted to sit outside in the sunshine, so I figured I would sit outside and have this chat with you guys. I'm sorry if the lighting's not that great. I'm sorry if I'm squinting a little bit. It's just because it's really bright where I am. But unfortunately, the shaded areas are really shaded and they're not warm at all. So I'm sitting out in the sun. So, but what I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about today is kind of I don't know if I'd call it a trend or a pattern, just something that I've noticed becoming more common recently, as I've been watching BookTube and, kind of following in the book community. And I've seen this other places outside of the book community too, but I've really seen an upsurge in it recently. And it's something that's disappointing to me, because I always thought, I like to think of the book community as a community of intelligent people who love books and love to read and just want to kind of share their thoughts and opinions and, have a free space to do that and talk about books, just freely talk about them. And I really feel like, for me anyway, there was always this kind of viewpoint that, this would be a free kind of non-judgmental space to just talk about books and talk about the books that you love and the books that you don't necessarily love as much and your reasons why and all these kinds of things. And the fact that we all have sort of different backgrounds and different, stories and life experiences, and we're all sort of coming at this from different places, is one of the things that makes the community beautiful. And it's one of the things that makes the community a safe place and a place of beauty and imagination and intrigue and just things that are really, really, nice and happy and gorgeous, and things that we, that really mean a lot. I don't know how much they mean to other people. I can't speak for others, but I know they mean a lot to me. These things within the book community. So it's important to me. And I guess the trend that I've noticed recently in the last, I don't even say the last month, last few months or so, has been this sort of uptick in people just being very much acting in the opposite way of what I would expect in the book community. And what I mean by that is people being very sort of judgmental of other people, and not just in terms of, books that they like and that they don't like, but bringing in other events and other issues into the community and making it, relating it to books, but also just being very judgmental of other people and people that don't necessarily agree with your viewpoint. And it's sad. It really saddens me because, I always like to think of the book community as a community of intelligent people who just want to come together and talk about books and have a good time. And, this idea that, you would share some thoughts regarding a book or some opinions, and because opinions are not fact, they are in fact opinions. That someone would, spend their time on the book community just, calling you out and judging you for that, to me is just, it's sad and it's wrong. And I don't feel like people should have to, so incredibly and completely censor themselves and not be able to speak their minds in the book community for fear of someone else calling them out. You know, there's this, I've noticed this problem with people calling other people out and shaming other people within the book community recently, and I've seen it a couple of times. I've also seen very certain words thrown around very lightly, and to me that's not right. Words like racist, transphobic, homophobic, sexist, these words are thrown around. These words are pulled out as a way of insulting other people and calling other people out. And to me, I guess, coming from my own life experiences, I was always taught that these words were something, for someone to be racist. Just a minute. Evie, stop, honey. Good girl. Thank you. For someone to be called racist was very, very, it was a serious thing. I remember being in school, and I remember we had a woman who came to speak. She was a survivor of the World War II. She had been at Auschwitz. And we actually had the honor of being in the auditorium, and she came to speak to us about her experiences. And one thing she said really stuck out to me. And that was, she said, my grandchildren are never allowed, or not never, but for the most part, are never allowed to use the word hate. Because hate is what put me in that concentration camp. Hate is what destroyed my life and my family. Hate is, to say that you hate something is really, it's a serious thing. It's not a word that should just be thrown around loosely. And I remember thinking about this, and I feel the same way about words like racist, transphobic. I just feel like they're thrown around so lightly now, and especially I've seen this uptick in this in the book community. That is the neighbor's dog. Just give me a second. Okay, guys, sorry about that. So anyway, I just feel like these words are thrown around so lightly now. In the I'm just gonna come over and sit in the shade. I think I've had enough sun. In the book community and in other places as well, but I'm speaking with specific respect to the book community. I just have seen so many people who, it seems as if they intentionally look for reasons to call someone one of these very serious words. And it is not something that I believe should be trifled with, and it is also not something that I believe should be thrown around so lightly. I believe that these should be very serious accusations, and I don't think that, calling someone racist because they dislike a book that happens to be written by a person of color, or calling someone homophobic because they happen to dislike a book that, has a gay main character, for example. Or, calling someone sexist because they write a book that is set in a world where, men are stronger than women in certain ways, in certain areas. This is something that I don't feel should happen, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I just feel like these words are very serious, and I don't feel like they should be thrown around as loosely as they are being thrown around. Prejudice is something that's a very serious thing, and I don't believe that it's something that should be used as a way to call people out. Excuse me. Okay, so I hope that's clear enough for you guys. I just really don't feel like these words should be used as lightly as they are, and I feel like these accusations are thrown around way, way, way too much. I also, coming from the other standpoint, I feel like people should be allowed to be kind to each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like people should be for the most part, allowed to speak their minds without having fear of being called racist or being called, something else. I just, people should be allowed to speak their minds, and people should be allowed to have their own opinions. Please, please, please be kind to each other. Don't judge your fellow human beings, because at the end of the day, that's one thing that unites us all. We're all human. We all bleed red blood. And I mean, unless some of you bleed, blue or gold or silver blood, and I just don't know about it, but I'm gonna go on the assumption that that's not the case. Please, please, please be kind to each other. We are all fellow human beings, and we all are alive, we are all living creatures, and we are all fellow human beings, and we deserve kindness and respect, and just please be kind to each other. Please don't go looking for reasons to, call out each other and judge each other. It's just not something that I feel should be happening in the book community, or in any community for that matter. It just creates this real, this real sort of atmosphere of negativity that is really toxic and is not something that, I feel like intelligent, well-read people really should be involved in, or that intelligent, well-read people would want to be involved in. I just don't feel that it's right. Um, you know, don't go looking for reasons to call people out. Obviously, if you see someone, making threats at someone else, or something else very, very serious that's happening, and people are really, you know, and when I mean threat, I mean like, if you see someone who is, giving someone else a death threat, or you see someone who is, making continually, extremely degrading comments to, a specific person, or you see someone who's being harassed, then, yes, of course, stand up, say something, tell that person, hey, listen, what you're doing is not okay. But by the same token, if you see someone who writes a book review and they say, I didn't like this book, and that book happened to be written by a person of color, don't go on there and start calling that person racist just because they didn't like the book. It's not like, same goes for other, marginalized books that have to do with other marginalized communities. Don't do that. And don't force other people. Don't guilt trip other people. I've seen a couple of content creators now just recently saying, well, if I can go out and donate to this cause, for example, and I can go out and I can, do this, then, you can at least do that, kind of thing. Give your money here, otherwise, like, you're a bad person if you don't. I mean, she didn't say that the person was a bad person if they didn't give their money, but it was implied. And I don't think that that's right. You don't know someone else's story. You don't know what struggles someone else has been through. You're not living someone else's story. You're living your own story. And I think it's important to remember that, and remember that, with everything going on in the world, no one, not one person, is exactly in the same place and mental state and everything that they were, 6 months, a year ago. No one is. And I can confidently say that, and I can say that, I just don't believe that it's right for people to use words like racist or transphobic or homophobic or, biphobic or whatever, cis-sexist, just generally sexist, faithist. I just don't believe that these words are things that we should be using to insult our fellow human beings. You know, like, come on, guys. Like, I feel like we're better than that. I feel like, you know, as readers, I feel like we can find other ways of voicing our displeasure at something and, you know, having a respectful discussion about something, having a kind, respectful discussion about something, and learning from each other, and also recognizing that we don't always need to agree on things. You know, some people just are not going to agree with us, and you know what? That's okay. You know, I may not agree with you on something. You may not agree with me. We don't all always have to agree. There's a reason that they say agree to disagree. You know, disagreements are okay. And healthy, respectful discourse and healthy, respectful disagreements are important. Because not only do they allow people a chance to learn from each other and to potentially see something from someone else's point of view, but also they allow each other the opportunity to, you know, to be in contact and to, you know, listen to some opinions from people, you know, with different and varied life experiences and different and varied, you know, just beliefs, and the fact that we're all coming at this from different places, the variety of experiences, you know, the fact that someone can read a book and see something, and someone else can read that same book and see something completely different, is one of the things that makes this community beautiful. So please, let's not tarnish that beauty. Let's not, you know, let's not tarnish it and make this into an atmosphere of negativity, you know, by calling each other out and focusing on, you know, oh, well, you know, I think that this is whatever. Like, let's not call each other out, and let's certainly not use those words so loosely. I feel like these words are just thrown around whenever you don't like someone else's opinion. The go-to is to call them something. And I just don't feel like that's right. You know, you can say, I disagree, and here's why. And that other person might say, yeah, well, I disagree with you. And here's why. And, you know, and at the end of it, at the end of the discussion, you know, you two might leave the discussion, someone might change their point of view, or you two might leave the discussion with the same points of view that you had before. And that, you know, and you might just say, well, okay, then let's agree to disagree, and leave it at that, guys. Don't make it, don't make things worse than what they are, and don't throw around accusations so lightly, because these words are referring to very serious things with very serious consequences, and I just don't feel like these are things that should be taken lightly or thrown around lightly. And that goes for everyone. You know, I don't care what your skin color is. You shouldn't be throwing around the word racist like it's nothing. You know, I don't care what your sexual orientation is. You shouldn't be throwing around the word homophobic like it's nothing. Or, you know, no one, I don't care who you are or what your life experiences are, you know, you shouldn't be throwing around these words like they're nothing, because they're not nothing. They mean a lot, and they're hurtful, and they're things that are, you know, very, very serious accusations, and it's not something to be taken lightly. So anyway, I hope this little discussion was interesting to you or informative, maybe somehow. Maybe you got to see a little bit of, you know, some of my viewpoint on things. Be kind to one another. Please, please, please be kind, be kind, be kind. Just remember that we're all coming at this from different places. And, you know, just because someone doesn't agree with you doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that they don't agree with you. So please be kind to your fellow human beings, and I will see you all next time. Be kind, stay safe, and I will see you all next time. Alright, guys. Bye.